Howdy. Welcome to my shop. My name's Ron and I'll be your host for the next 10 minutes or so. Being a fourth generation carpenter, wood is that's my language. It's my living, it's my hobby, it's my passion. One of those passions is making stocks. I've never had any formal training in this. I just wanted to put a piece of wood on a gun one day, and I seemed like that'd be a pretty unique challenge, so I tried it. And been going at it ever since, but honestly, I owe a lot of my success to my customers, my friends that have suggested this or that, different ways of doing it to produce a better outcome. And so I appreciate them. I owe them a great deal. The finish that I use was suggested by a friend of mine that owns a gun shop in Georgia, a guy named Dan. I've been friends with him for many years, and I owe him for that knowledge. So I don't suggest that my way is the only way. That's just not the case. I picked up my abilities to do this from watching other people and seeing other things and then figuring out how to do that. So it's a process. Some ways are better, cleaner, faster. They require less effort. On and on it goes. And I'm open to learning new and better ways. I'm always looking for that. My grandfather used to say, never let a day go by that you don't learn something. So when I do, I'll often look up, thanks, Pop, because no matter how old you get, you still need to be learning new things. So come on in, see what's going on today. Howdy. Today I'm going to start to build a Mannlicher stock. This is a 700 Remington. I think it may have been a youth model at one time. It's a really short barrel, but the guy says it shoots really well. And so he wants a full-length stock on it, and grade 3, which is going to be kind of fun to make. So I'm going to take his scope off and go ahead and protect that and get rid of this black plastic stock. And I've got his dimensions, length of pull and drops and all that. So we're going to get going. Welcome to my shop. I found a blank that I like real well. It's got some figure in the butt end of it, and it's got a really nice straight grain in the front, but it's also got some nice dark streaks, some real dark streaks running through it here. And especially here on the cheek piece side, it's really got some nice figure to it. I cut this thing probably 2012. Yep. And so let's see. Yeah, I cut it in December of 12. This is 2022, so it's almost 10 years old. Been in my shop for the last since 2018. I brought it in January of 18, according to these marks, and I will test the moisture on it. It was 10% at that time, and at one time here it was had checked it and it was 4%. So it's ready. I'll rough it out. I'll let it sit a little bit longer, and then I'll carry on with it. what I do to put a to be able to put this thing back in, take it out, put it back in, get it all in the same place every time, is I back it up as far as I can get it without hitting this knob, because this thing right here turns. And then I mark along the edge of this table and put me a notch right there. After I cut that notch out, then I'll level this thing up, and I'll put me a pad in here that will lift that up. It'll look something like that. And I'll glue that thing to the bottom of my stock, and this little notch right here will hook itself on the front of this vise. And so it's a locator that locates me up and down and forward and backward. I'm going to go cut this notch and I'll be right back. I don't know how anybody else does this. I don't know anybody that does this. So I've kind of had to make up my own methods of machining and stock work. I'm admittedly self-taught. Now I'll put my 4 little dots of glue on this thing, and that'll hold it until I want it to not hold it. And I'll knock it off, or I'll cut it off. I'm going to leave this overnight. Very good. Now there's enough clearance in here for me to let this wheel turn and not touch the back of this. I'll leave this overnight and then start on it in the morning, milling it out and drawing it out, and then I'll mill it out. This little block I put in here last night is dried. I took it out. I had to shift. This thing was a teeny bit out of level this way. So I shifted it by filing, just taking a wood file and just taking a little bit off of this side over here and this side along this edge on this side of this block. And then I cut the excess off of this line, and I left that little notch. That little bitty notch is all it takes to hook right there. And that thing will align itself every time I drop it in there and push it to the left. Push down on it and tighten that up. And that drops in there perfectly level.